Well, hello, friends, neighbors. John, your whiskey neighbor here, and welcome now to the Nook. Saturday, and I get to shoot a review with you guys. And this is the review that I probably should have shot a few weeks ago when I reviewed the Triple Mash. I now have a bottle of the newly released, or at least new in my area, the Jack Daniel's Bonded Tennessee Whiskey. So, if you have any Jack Daniels at all, any of their product, or specifically the Bonded, why don't you pour a little dram? And, we'll nose, we'll taste, we'll see, is this new Jack Daniel's Bonded worth it or not? Come on back, we'll taste together. 3, 4. Yeah, thanks for coming back. As I said, I shot the Triple Mash a couple of weeks ago. I'll put a link if you want to catch that full review. But I should be comparing it to this because they came out into this market at the same time. This bottle here is, I guess, regular Jack Daniels. That Tennessee whiskey. This is bonded though, so it's aged at least 4 years. Federally bonded warehouse, single distillery season, single master distiller. Still, as I think all Jack Daniel's process, releases, it's gone through that Lincoln County press where they slow filter through maple charcoal their whiskey. Aside from that, it's 50%. It's bonded, as I said. It's Jack Daniel's. Let's see, nose and taste what we get on this new release. Oh, it's a sweet nose, a little bit of spice, a little bit of peanut on that. Yeah, a little bit of sweet fruit, maybe light cherry. Going back in, a little bit more cinnamon, a little more savory spice, a bit of alcohol heat. I don't think I normally say Jack Daniels and peanut, but just now in this sitting, I'm getting a little bit more of kind of a nut presence. And a really sweet, almost melon type fruit. Let's try it on the palate. Cheers. That is richer by far than regular Jack Daniels, at least for my palate. It is thicker caramels, some brown sugar, some fudge sweetness, some sugar sweetness, some maple fudge. Maple fudge, yeah. So a little bit of butter, a little bit of maple syrup sweetness, and almost a granular sugar cane in there. Yes, I do get banana. I'm one of those people that get that in Jack Daniels. I'm getting it on this in the palate. I didn't get it on the nose. In the nose, the fruit was more cherry. In the palate, for me, it's ripe and full, and so I would say something like a very ripe banana, soft melon. But that maple fudge is pretty interesting. I better try another sip. Cheers. A little more oak there. Um, like a nice, not char black, that'd be smoke or heavy, so something lighter than that, but definitely some oak coming through now in the finish or in that second sip, as if you're sipping along. I think that's some of the secondary flavors and some of that burnt crust, a little bit of what is that darkness that I would put on some oak. So I'll just stick with oak, but still right away are always sweet and a little bit nutty. The nose to me was saying peanut. Now in the palate, I'm not getting peanut. That's too bright of a nut, but something a little husky, a little nut. Lots of sugars. I'm still gonna go today. Today with that maple fudge, so it's sweet. Very sweet. Thankfully, the second sip bought a bit more oak. Last quick thought. That's that's quite tasty. I even got edges of chocolate on that. I can't believe I just said that about Jack Daniels. I think I gave quite a few notes on there that I normally don't get with Jack Daniels. Don't get me wrong, Jack Daniels is everywhere and lots of people love it. Fair. I'm not a big Jack Daniels fan. This, to me, if it's just a little bit longer aged and a little bit higher proof, that's impressive because this is fairly tasty. And I was able to get it in my mark Canadian for $43, which I think makes this a pretty good value bottle. Is this amazing? No. It's a little bitter, a little tannic on the end, little abrasive alcohol. It's kind of young. And for me, it's very quickly going to become too sweet. It's a novelty, little sips, a little bit of whiskey, like, oh, that's really sweet. Pretty soon it's going to be, that's really sweet. And I know that's one of the things that I don't like in Jack Daniel's regular, and I think would overpower me here. But for a little, a dessert dram, if I may, or it would go well with barbecue, like a sweetness into a nice barbecue. So, I don't know. Pretty good job, I have to say, and pretty affordable. I like it, and I'm going to give it, 3 3/4, which is a pretty high rating for me in Jack Daniels. As I said in the opener, I shot this triple mash a few weeks back, but I didn't have the bonnet at the time because it was also at the store I was at like $52. Said I found it for 43, so it came home with me. But this is a blend of American malt, their regular Tennessee whiskey, and American rye. One of the people who commented on my videos, if they have an insight, that's great, actually said it's 60% rye, 20% malt, and 20% regular Jack Daniel's Tennessee whiskey. If that's the ratio, that's a really high percentage of rye. I'm really impressed. It's also a bonded product, so it has all the minimum 4 distiller season, federally bonded warehouse, 100 proof or 50%. Just in comparison, tasting notes between just the Tennessee bonded and the triple mash. For me, this nose is more interesting. The malt is speaking in comparison, a little nutty, a little husky, almost grainy. But there is a lively rye spice or lemongrass, something lighter, sharper, a little citrus. I like the nose a little better. But coming back, this smells like a welcoming dessert. Gonna try the triple mash on the palate. Cheers. Significantly more spicing. So yes, cinnamon, but now we got some cracked pepper and some baking spices. It's definitely more presence in the palate and spicier. Let her sip. Tiny bit of herbal note, not a lot. Kind of have to go hunting for it, but it's there in the sense of some rye. Almost a little bit of allspice there, a little, and perhaps because of the spicing, it's huskier in the throat a little bit. It is a little more burn, but in this case, not in a negative way. It feels like a little more body, and I like that. It's definitely peppier, spicier, more pepper. I think would probably be the better English to say. I like this as a dram better, and I think I gave it, and if I didn't, I would give this a 4 stars, which is a great rating. This, though, is a solid product, and if it's the kind of value it is in your market, worth a try. This tastes more like Jack Daniel's than the triple mash. This is a very interesting American whiskey with significant amounts of rye. I don't know if it's as high as 60, but it certainly has rye presence, and yet still that malt kind of comes through, almost graham cracker, as I said, a little nutty, little fuller. I'm liking the triple mash more, but I will take small sips of this and enjoy it while I do. Thanks for joining me here this Saturday. I hope your weekend's going well. This is the last Saturday of my holiday, so that I'll be back in the office next week, and I'm looking forward to just a fantastic year together. I work with good people, and I hope you do too. And if you don't, I hope you can find a place where you do. It means a lot. Thanks for joining me. You guys have a great week.